You've started to build your brand, you've got a visual language, you've got a logo, you've got some colors. That's great. Now you really need to build your audience and really market what you've developed to that community of people. One of the things that we found that's been really successful for us for capturing contact information is for every event that we host. So whether that is a service day, whether that's a repair cafe, or whether we're just doing an in-shop workshop, we always have an RSVP to the event. Typically, it is just a Google form with first name, last name, email address, how you heard about the event. And that just helps us from a logistics standpoint of how many people can we expect, how many tools do we need to bring, refreshments, those sorts of things, as well as capturing contact information for someone that if they're interested in one repair cafe, chances are they're going to be interested in future events as well. All our flyers will have both a URL, a link that people can RSVP, as well as a QR code that will take them directly to that RSVP form. And then when we're actually on site at the physical events, as you can see in the photo, for people that are signing in and signing off on our waiver, again, it is all digital. It's a QR code that people scan that gets them registered for the day. It also signs off a waiver in case of injury, but also signing off on a photo release, and then also agreeing that they don't mind us communicating with them in the future. So we're able to, instead of having a bunch of, just old school sign-in sheets that we have to transcribe, we just have a Google form that has a Google spreadsheet on the back end that we're able to just export that spreadsheet, and then we can import it right into our newsletter platform, which for us is MailChimp, but Constant Contact, whatever you're using to really stay engaged and stay connected with your community of folks. It's a really easy way, and it saves you from having to transcribe hundreds of emails and hundreds of names. Never thought that QR codes would come back, but here we are. They are super popular, and there are tons of free generators out there. So highly recommend using a combination of QR codes and Google Forms, both of which are free, to set up that digital platform to capture that contact information. And then the dreaded newsletter. So I've been part of a lot of different organizations where one of the first ideas is always, let's do a newsletter. And it's great because everyone wants to know, what you're working on, what you're doing. But newsletters are an incredible amount of work. And so unless you have people who are dedicated to generating those on a monthly or quarterly basis, they can be really difficult to pull off, but they are super important and a really important tool just from a communications and marketing standpoint. They remind members about the services you provide, and then also reasons why they should support your organization and why they should get more involved. We just this year shifted back to doing a monthly newsletter. Again, a lot of what we were doing was really focused around just our events. So if we were hosting a bunch of service days out in the community or repair cafes, we would put an email out to our membership list to anyone who had signed up for a newsletter. So very helpful for that, but there really was no deeper story there. There wasn't a ton of really interesting content that was engaging people. So our open rate, was probably like 20 to 30% of people who were getting our emails were opening them. We were really lucky that we ended up getting 2 new board members who have a background in communications. And so they helped us start a new communications committee, which has really been tasked with generating the content for our newsletters and really administering those, which has been super helpful. So they are reaching out to our volunteers. They're doing monthly volunteer spotlights. So they're generating, entire articles of new, unique content that we can not only include in our newsletter, but also on our website and through social media. And one of the things we try to do as well, every newsletter is just focus on a member-made project. So really reaching out to your members and your communities to see how they're using the tools. Are there projects that they've been working on that they'd be willing to share? Again, Google Form is a super easy way to capture that kind of content where they can upload photos, they can include a short descriptor, and then just speak to what was the impact of them being able to borrow these tools and to be able to access something that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have been able to afford. We get tons of engagement around those sorts of posts. They're super popular, and it's just always super interesting to see how people are using our tools in their homes and out in the community. And one of the things too is absolutely recycle and repurpose anything you can from the newsletter. So whatever's in the newsletter will become an Instagram post, which will also become a blog post on the website. How can you recycle these things? Because they do take a lot of work. So if you're putting that much work into them, trying to share them across as many different platforms as possible. Our open rate, when it was just like, hey, come to this event, was really averaging between 20 and 30%. And now where we have this new content, where we have member features, where we have volunteer spotlights, we've seen our open rates go from anywhere from 40 to 60%. So more people are actually opening the emails, they're reading them, and they're also clicking on links and signing up to come to events or to donate or to help the organization with a very specific need. So having newsletters is a really great way to build that longer term engagement and to get people involved with the organization. And we've had people reach out just to say, wow, I really love reading your newsletter. And it's just super fun to see what people are doing with the tools. It's always nice to hear that feedback and to share that with the people who are putting that content together.